why archetypal astrology is the best. No, but seriously, like, why it is so effective. Okay, let me explain it like this. For me, astrology is all about archetypal patterns. It is based on mythological stories, which, if we look at mythology as the explanation of the human species experiencing similar things in our life as humans, and those experiences being presented as archetypal planets, and also us understanding that there is a relationship between the planetary movements in our solar system and their qualities and aspects to the others, and seeing that those planetary movements affect our human bodies as we are energy, and understanding that mythology is this collective unconscious forming and retelling, since our ability to communicate with each other is the key thing that makes us rely our consciousness and our interpretation of reality to another person, and then having those two consciousness and experiences of life being one. And the more and more consciousnesses and perspectives of life, that creates this big entity, and that is basically what the collective is. And with our ability to speak, we have this striving feeling, or this longing for going back to source, because every time we interpret something and not just experience it with our senses, we're detached from our experience. And that if we are too detached, if we create so much story in our head that we just start to live it by trying to understand, we create this detachment from life and source. And if we have so much built up on the collective level, that we have so many rules, we have so many structures that we need to fit into, the detachment from source is bigger than ever. And with language, it's a gift. It's so amazing. Like, just look at the books behind me. Like, I love books so much. I love books. But it also, like, everything in here is explanations of our understanding. And that is what consciousness is and has become. And we just try to understand and understand. But what we long for in our hearts is to this collective, is to reconnect to this collective love, because every person is the detachment, the separateness of the human soul. Every person, their detachment and their detachment from the collective soul. If we have forgotten how to live or how to experience life, if we're too far gone, if we're too detached, that we're in a state of fear instead of love, instead of living from this like recharged collective love feeling, this field of knowing that we're all one. If we have forgotten that, we will be scared. We will think that we're alone in this world. We will feel that, what is the point? We will search for things because we've forgotten of our collective love. And since everything is in such a state of, people have forgotten what love is, what God is, what the collective is, because we're always like disappointed. Our inner soul, our inner child version of ourselves, which believes in magic and love, has been disappointed so many times and has been shamed for expressing and reacting in our instincts. We have been conditioned by praise and shame to basically be robots and function in a big society that's conditioned to aim for something, to be efficient as a collective, and progress. If we have then archetypal energy as a form of symbolism for this experience, because now I have talked for like 7 minutes, or probably when I edit this it will be shorter, but I've talked for 7 minutes and it's so hard to put into words what I'm trying to articulate, because how do we use words to explain something that we have forgotten, and also use the words to it is the words that detach us from the feeling of love and source and God and the collective. It is being mindful and present that is the state of oneness. And how do we use the art of communication to really integrate and understand that the detachment is from putting labels on things and understanding things. But we also need to, these alternative theories or alternative explanations that we're not taught in school, we need to hear them time and time again, which is why looking and searching is the only way to get out of repetitive why searching and also using symbolic language like astrology or spirituality in order to reach and communicate and awaken the soul's knowledge instead of the ego's, which is always about rational thinking. And why art and being in our body, being in our unconscious, is the way to reach the soul. And if we're just doing things that are stimulating our brain's logical behavior, it will be so unbalanced, and we will realize in our body's condition, we would get sick if we're unbalanced. We will get injuries. We can, like, it will, everything that happens inside will manifest outside. Yeah. So a good way is to practice stuff that is being more in your body, and that is meditation and yoga and dancing and mindfulness, things like that to start with. And even if it's hard because your ego feels threatened, you can even do it 5 minutes a day for a continuous period of time. That's how I started doing yoga. I did 5 minutes a day. I looked up on YouTube yoga 5 minutes and then did it every day. After a month it was a routine and I started to feel the benefits, and then it was like, okay, I'll do 10, and then after another months I did 15, and then just like, we have to integrate integrate it enough and safely and softly so that your ego doesn't feel threatened, because when it feels threatened, it will attack you, and it will create, you will notice it by resistance being present. Like, you will not do yoga anymore, you will self-sabotage in some way, and that is your indicator that you're not enough attuned to yourself. You're pushing yourself too much, because your ego basically is this, your whole ego, your personality, your likes, dislikes, everything is based from your conditioning as a human child to have experiences that you form a identity, so that you know your place in society, and that you do by experiencing praise or shame when things happen. If you have an experience where someone laughs at you and you feel shame, then you will learn, your conditioning, your inner critic, your ego will learn that that's not a good thing to do, to be accepted in the group, and then you will not do that, and that will live on as a shame association in your body. And when that awakens, that is a trigger, and that will form a certain pattern in your living situation, that you are dissociated, you're detached from the moment when something similar happens in the future, and that will awaken that feeling, and you will try to rescue it or create a fight or flight response in your body subconsciously, and then it will form your personality. So humans, adults, are mainly these praise and rewards. Like, if you've gotten praise for doing something, a certain thing in your childhood, and you got recognition for it, you start to identify with it, and you learn that when I do this, I get accepted, and then it becomes a part of who you are. And that's your whole ego, that's your whole identity. And depending on your experiences, it's different types of identifications. And if you want to get to know your identification, just think about how you present yourself on a first date or at a job interview. Like, those are prime examples of how you want to, based on your conditioning, be presented to your two most efficient ego reflections, like your love relationships and your work. Those are like the driving things in your life where you are identified, basically. And they're different. One is personal and one is more professional. But how you present yourself in those scenarios are how you want to be seen, basically. Damn, this did not go as I thought it would. The archetypal function then, as this detached from the big source, as your human experience, how to find your way back is through symbolism, since that speaks to your soul in a way that it doesn't to your ego. Since the ego is always on a watch, because it just wants your best, it wants your survival, and from all these years of conditioning, it will not listen to a lot. If there's so many different beliefs that you need to be a certain way to not die, it will not reach this logical place if you don't have this relationship to your soul, and start to strengthen the relationship to your soul. And that you can do by more unconscious interactions in dreams, and, like I said, starting to have this relationship with your unconscious, with your soul as well. And astrology is a great way to do that. and the planetary archetypes are great ways to recognize the different journey, the different aspects of the journey that happen in a human person's life, and to start to integrate and make conscious the different aspects of your experience, both conscious and unconscious, and then integrating. Okay, so this was a bit of a long video, I feel. But I find this topic so interesting, both like the collective and the personal human soul's journey, and I really want to do more videos on this topic, so I probably will. I don't know really what to call this, if it is maybe the archetypal power in astrology, maybe. But I feel like now in retrospect it feels like I went a bit all over the place when explaining this, but it is a very broad topic and it needs some historical explanations in order to be perceived correctly, I feel. So there will probably be another video where I talk more directly on the different planets and what my take is on them. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.